Hey guys, and welcome back to another long awaited video. This video and many others that I have planned will be a bit shorter, and that's to accommodate those that want to learn about self-improvement but just don't have the time to watch longer lectures. So, this video is about ridding oneself of fear of the future. To begin the video, I'd like to share a personal story. Back in 11th grade, I'd always dread tests, especially a few days out. I'd feel scared and pressured. I'd be scared because I wanted to score high but wasn't sure if I could do it. And pressured because I tried to cram every single detail, everything from the page, everything from the textbook, as much as I could before the test. In the end, I just have a lot of anxiety about the future, especially that test day. So the question becomes, how do I get rid of the anxiety of the future? Well, I'm going to be very honest about it with you. There is no absolutely getting rid of it. There will always be a shadow of this anxiety that remains. There are steps that you can take to minimize this anxiety, however. The first tip would actually to be mindful. To practice this, I'd like to do an exercise with you. Sit up straight in a chair or on your bed. I want you to take a deep breath in. Now breathe out. In again. Out. And as you breathe deeply, I want you to notice the surface of whatever it is that you're sitting on. What's it feel like? Is it hard? Is it soft? Take a look around the room. Look at the color of the wall. For myself, the color of this room is yellow. Take a hard look at this color. Don't just look at it like you always have. Don't just take it for granted. Oh, it's something that's always been there, and so it's not worthy of my attention. Really look at the color. By the end of this exercise, you would have felt much calmer, much more in the present. And being more in the present makes it easier to have a continuous train of thought. For this next exercise, I'd like you to think about the worst possible outcome for the event that you're dreading. For myself, it's been tests. So I'm going to think about scoring a 0 on a chemistry test. I'd be horrified, not only because of the grade that's going to be looking back at me on that paper, but also because of the social repercussions, the disapproval that my teacher wears as she hands back that piece of paper to me, or the shock on all my classmates' faces as they see that there's only one person that did that bad on the test. However, once you've taken the time to really visualize this negative outcome, I think you'll feel a little happier. I know I always did. Because this hasn't happened yet, and there's no way that I'm gonna let it happen. I'm sure that there's no way you're gonna let it happen either. This allows me and will allow you to take a little bit less, or put a little bit less energy into worrying about the outcome, as opposed to accepting it and putting that energy that you use for worrying into making sure that you get your ideal outcome. And this dovetails perfectly with the last step, which is making a list that will allow you to take steps to progress to your ideal. Let's go back to the test. If I've been busy with assignments that week, I'd still study for it. I'd just do it 3 days away. As for what I'd study, sometimes the teacher might give a study sheet with a list of topics. Other times they might mention what it is in class. When they mention what it is in class, I'd take note of it at the top of my note sheet, at the little white space where you usually write your name and day and stuff. I just write it a little bit under those. Doing so allows me to know what's on the test, so I'm able to familiarize myself with the material. And then I'll spread this material out over the 3 days, so I'm actually learning instead of cramming last minute. This gives me the highest possible chance of scoring or getting what I want to get on that test. As a recap, the first step is to be mindful. You could always meditate, or you could just take a few deep breaths and notice. The second thing is to visualize the worst possible outcome. In doing so, you'll eventually come to accept the worst outcome. You'll be prepared for it, but you also know that there's no way you're going to let it happen. And the third step would be to make a plan to maximize the possibility of your ideal outcome happening. To wrap this video up, I'd like to leave you with a reminder: do the hard work, especially when you don't feel like it.